your girl Kids. It's good to be back. How you doing? Have been fine, hope you are. And if this is your first time, you're in the right place. So please make sure you subscribe. Follow me on Instagram, Lucky Signatures, and on Facebook, Sewing Innovations. Now today's tutorial will be on how to make this trendy keyhole cowl kaftan. You could have it as a long dress or as a short dress, but how I'm going to be making a short dress, and trust me, it's going to be beautiful. Yeah, the kids always say. I have two fabrics here, but I think I'm going to go for this. Yeah. So another essential measurement you need is where you want your sleeve opening to be. You can either make it long, then the longer you have it, the more cowl you have. So, but I'm going to make it somewhere around here. So that should be about 24, 25. So just place your measuring tape at the backbone here, then all down. I have, okay, let's say 25. So with seam allowance, that's going to make it 26 because you're going to fold the sleeve opening. So that's 26. Then the length of the dress matters. So for me, I'm going to make it maybe 45, between 43 to 45. So it depends on your preference. Yeah. So right now, let's go to the work table. Then you need a matching bias strip to hem the neckline. So now let's go get started. I have my fabric here, which is 3 yards by 50 inches in length. Some comes by 60, some comes by 45. But it is my pattern that will determine how I'm going to fold this fabric, because I want this pattern vertical on my body. So what I'm going to do now is to open everything up. I'm going to have this vertical on my body, so meaning I'm going to be folding this way. Let's see. So that's how I'm going to be folding it. The folding again, I have 3 yards, opening it up, so I divided that, I folded that into 2, sorry, to have this. Can you see? I should have folded this way to save some fabric, but no, because I want this pattern to be in the middle, so I have to fold along the middle this way. So now we can get started. Looking at my fabrics, some markings are already on the fabric, which I'm going to explain one after the other. Remember when we took the measurement from our center back to our sleeve opening, it was 25 for me. But I had to add extra 1 inch for seam allowance for folding the edges. So here I have 26. So I measure 26 from this folded line all to the other end and make a straight line all down. So I have 26 horizontally. Then going to my vertical measurement. The only measurement I inserted were my waist measurement and hip measurement. The both measurements are negligible, but the waist is required for the keyhole around the waist. Why for the hip? To determine the lower part that is going to be connected. So my waist measurement vertically is 16.5. As you can see that, then my hip measurement is 24 inches. You could add extra half an inch or whatever, but it's still okay because they are both negligible. Having done that, first let us quickly deal with the neckline. The first thing will be the 3 inches, 8 inches standard, but since it's long, just mark 3 inches from the edge. So that is 3 inches. Then I'm going to go to the end of the sleeve opening and just measure 2.5 inches. Assuming it is between 16 to 18, you could make do with 1.5, but for this, I will make use of 2.5 inches, which I will connect straight to the 3 inches point. Now we have our shoulder slope. For the neckline, it depends on how wide you want it to be. So if you want it very wide, like for a plus size, you can make use of 5 and 3 inches. That's fine. Or you can make it 4.5 by 3.5. So it depends on your preference. For a small size, 4 So 3 is fine. So the pens. So I could just make use of 4.5 by 3.25. So I'm going to connect that. I'm using the same neckline for both front and back. This is what I have for the neckline. So we are done with that. Let's quickly go over to the hip area. Going to the hip, this is the waist, this is the hip. So I'm going to insert my horizontal hip measurement, which is 45. 45 divided by 4 will give me 11.25. So let's say approximately 11.5. I can approximate here because I'm dealing with a boo-boo dress, so it's permissible. Don't mind me. So 11.5. Then because it's a free dress, I'm going to add extra 2 inches east to that to make it 13.5. So I'm going to mark that point. Though we are not going to use that. Haven't done that, quickly take away 1.5 inches away from this measurement, from this 13.5. When I do that, I'm going to have 12. It's actually 13.5, so when I take away 1.5 inches, I'll have 12. I'm going to bring it to the hem here and mark that 12 inches because I want it to be a little bit tapered. I don't just want it to be straight. And then you might be wondering the length of the dress. As I've said earlier on, I want it to be 45. For a tall person, 45 inches is still short. So plus seam allowance, I made it 46. But for a small size or a short person, between 40 to 41 should be okay. It depends, just measure yourself. So for me, I'm making use of 46 plus seam allowance. So that is that. So don't forget 12 inches here. Then before I connect to this hip area, you are just going to come down between 3.5 to 4 inches because you want the cowl to form even below the hip. So I'm just going to mark 3.5 here. This is the hip, then 3.5 here. So this is the point needed. First, I'm going to connect this to the hem. You see, then coming over to the upper part. Now I need to measure the sleeve opening, and since it's not long to the end of my wrist, I'm just going to measure this largest part of my hand, 7.5. So I'm just going to add extra 1 inch to that for seam allowance and all that, so that will make it 8.5. So let's just say 9. So from here now, I'll just measure 9 inches, between 8.5 to 9. So for a small size person, it should be like 7 to 7.5. So that will be my sleeve opening. So from here now, I'll now have to connect straight to this point, just to a curve. So still I came down a bit, because if I connect this way, I still want it to blend into this very line. So can you see what we have? And we are done with our dress. So the next thing is for me to cut it out. But before I do that, we'll now have to insert the keyhole into the waist area. To start that, you need your waist measurement. My waist measurement is 36. When I divide that by 4, I should have 9 inches. So 9 inches from the edge is here, but I'll add extra 2 inches to that because it's a free dress. So that's going to make it 11 inches. So 11 is here at this point. So the keyhole, I'll just make it a total of 3 inches in length because I want to have an oval shape. You could make up to 4, but you don't want it too wide because we are still going to take 1/4 inch all around, but it depends on you. So if it ranges between, for a small size person, 3 is fine. Even for myself, I'll be making use of 3, so maximum of 4 is okay. So what I'll now do is this is the required point. So just measure, you could measure 2 inches upward. I'll prefer that, 2 inches upward, then 1 inch downward. And you see, so I'm going to make an oval shape, because you don't want it too wide if you make a circle. So you can see the hole. So this hole might look small, but after sewing it up, it's going to look wide. So let's cut it out. The neckline, since I'm having the same neckline, I'm going to cut it together. Now at the point where I want the sleeve opening to be, I'm just going to make a notch at that point, so I will know where the sleeve opening is. So this is what we have now. You can see that was pretty easy. So to cut the keyhole, just take your time. So I want to cut it together. This is the keyhole, opening it up for you to see. This is what the dress looks like, so beautiful. Can you see I have my pattern in between the dress, which is what I want to achieve. Also at the back, can you see that? Isn't it beautiful? So let's start sewing it up. The next thing, or the first thing to do to start the sewing, is to hem the shoulder line. So just take about 1/4 to 1/2 inch on the shoulder, also on this other side. Then I'm going to use the bias strip to hem the neckline. After then we'll come over to the keyhole. I've hemmed the neckline, as you can see, so just hem it neatly with your bias strip, then the shoulder. Then coming to the sleeve opening, I just had to tape it in by 1 inch that I left. Can you see? So with the notch, I know where to. So can you see? We have this open. So before we sew the side, we have to go back to the keyhole. That's very important. So here you really need to take your time, because it's a bit time consuming. What you have to do, open it up. This is the wrong side, this is the right side. So here, just take it this way. So when I put my hand inside, I have the right side. Also here, right side. So you just make sure you take it in such a way that the right side will be facing each other. Can you see? So you can pin it down, then you start sewing it. Just 1/4 inch, little is okay. So then you move it again. Can you see? You move it again, making sure the right side are facing each other from the inside. Can you see? You keep going around. Can you see? So you keep going around again on the inside. Can you see? So that's how I'm going to take my time to sew it all around. And the same thing for this other side. So let me quickly do that. I've sewn the keyhole now, and you can see how beautiful it looks, and I've given it a good press. The next thing was that I sewed up the sides. So after the sleeve, I just had to sew it up and give it a good press too. Can you see? So what I'm going to do now is to place it on the mannequin for you to see how beautiful it looks. The beautiful outfit we just made, and you can see it's so lovely. Can you see that? Can you see? It's just so wonderful. So you can use any type of belt at all. So that is it. So at the back, you can see that. So beautiful. You see? So ensure you make yours and share with us on our Facebook group, Sewing Innovations, and tag me on Instagram, Lucky Signatures. Hope my tutorial has been helpful. If it has, please give me a giant thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.